As President Trump approaches his 100th day in the White House, he's trying to make the case he's accomplished a lot. Earlier this year, the Secret Service added spikes atop the White House fence intended to deter would-be fence jumpers. Elaine, the service is working on a permanent security solution for the fence, but has not yet presented a plan.
Craig Boswell at the White House for us tonight. Craig, thank you.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Craig Boswell in New York. Breaking news from the campaign trail been following this evening. Republican presidential hopeful Mitt Romney will name Wisconsin Congressman Paul Ryan as his running mate. Another deadly day in Afghanistan. NATO is investigating a Black Hawk helicopter crash that killed 7 U.S. soldiers along with 4 Afghans. Cuban diplomats here at their new embassy in Washington have their own message for the American government. Lift the trade embargoes restricting tourism and business between the two countries.
And I've had different or conflicting reports on this, Craig. Has the slick already touched the shore or not? What's happening there?
And good evening to you, Geraldo. Yeah, the leading edge of that oil sheen, which is that thin, paper-thin layer of the oil slick, has hit the shore in some areas.
Hurricane Earl now grazing up against Nags Head, North Carolina, the closest brush with the Outer Banks.
It's hindering efforts for these search and rescue teams that are going from debris pile to debris pile, from door to door, trying to find out if there are more people trapped underneath that rubble.
Meanwhile, Louisiana's Governor Bobby Jindal says thick crude oil, very much like what I'm holding here that we gathered yesterday at Paso Lutra, has now impacted 100 miles of Louisiana's shoreline.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Craig Boswell in New York. It is early morning now in Egypt, and forces there are preparing for another day of widespread chaos. We have new pictures out of Cairo this morning showing a heavy military presence.
A bullseye for NASA as the rover Curiosity's laser zaps its first Martian rock today. It's what the space agency calls target practice. Only about 40% of Haitians have access to toilets, and with virtually no health infrastructure, sewage system, oftentimes the only choice to go to the bathroom is out in the open, on the side of the street, or in a plastic bag, which is often discarded on the side of the road, or ends up in a canal like this.
Many houses in Haiti will be rebuilt one brick at a time, but first, those bricks have to be made. In this Port-au-Prince neighborhood, it's done by hand on the side of a busy road. A few feet away, houses lie in ruins, untouched by demolition crews. But there is progress, and it took our crew down this back road outside of Port-au-Prince, where we found Franz Angus, a relief worker who's building permanent housing for Haitians, homes that can withstand future earthquakes.
The base is concrete, the roof is concrete.
His group has sped up construction since January. And while we visited, they handed over a house to this woman, whose home was destroyed in the quake.
She was sitting outside.
But today,
She was extremely happy.
down the road, another house is under construction, Haitian style.
As you can see, we don't have any cement trucks hauling the cement up to the roof. When you're in Haiti, you have to deal with what you have in Haiti, so we're used to it.
Progress in Haiti is on a small scale, and when you find it, it's slow. But for all the bad news here, there are plenty of cases where people are making the best with what they have. This school principal is getting used to her new way of life, running an outdoor school.
I have to continue. This is life. Life means, continue.
Like many schools here, hers was reduced to rubble.
They don't have a proper classroom to study. It's not the learning environment at all.
With help nowhere on the horizon, she took on the task of teaching students in tents and makeshift classrooms.
It's a new way of teaching and doing school. We have to really learn how to do education in this environment.
It's not the best way, but for now, it's the only way. And that's how Haiti is getting along. One student at a time, one brick at a time, one house at a time. In Port-au-Prince, Craig Boswell, Fox News. Donald Trump hopes to maintain his lead heading into Tuesday's primary.
I want one thing. On Tuesday, you have to get out and vote.
A Monmouth University poll shows Trump up by double digits in New Hampshire, with Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, and John Kasich locked in a fierce battle for second. Kasich held his 101st town hall in the Granite State Sunday.
This is ridiculous. Is there a Super Bowl today? Go home, huh?
The Ohio governor says his ground game is strong here.
Where do you have to place in New Hampshire to keep this bus moving?
We don't have to win, but a strong finish here is essential for us, and we're absolutely confident that that's going to happen.
For the Democrats, Bernie Sanders is ahead by 10 points in New Hampshire.
We are going to create together an economy that works for working families, not just the 1%.
Though trailing in the Granite State, Hillary Clinton is closing the gap on Sanders' lead. She briefly left the state Sunday for Flint, Michigan, to address the ongoing scandal of lead-contaminated water in the community.
I will fight for you in Flint, no matter how long it takes.
She was back in New Hampshire Sunday evening, where candidates from both parties will likely remain until the polls close Tuesday. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
A handful of families have learned the difficult reality their loved ones did not make it out. The others are still waiting to find out about their loved ones. We're also learning more about the gunman and some of what happened inside and outside the nightclub.
Family members of the victims cried and held each other after finding out about their loved ones. They had gathered at an Orlando hotel waiting for news. For many, the news was devastating. Police say Omar Mateen took an AR-15 assault rifle into a gay nightclub in Orlando and opened fire, leading to the worst mass shooting in U.S. history.
He was just basically just swiping around. No specific purpose, like just kind of just shooting anybody and anything.
Among the victims, 34-year-old Edward Sotomayor Jr., 23-year-old Stanley Almodovar, and 22-year-old Luis S. Vielma. Mateen called 911 to pledge his allegiance to ISIS and took several people hostage in a bathroom. A SWAT team decided to go in. Mateen was killed. One officer was injured. His Kevlar helmet is credited for saving his life.
The FBI is now investigating the massacre as an act of terrorism.
Mateen was a security guard. Born in New York, his family later moved to Florida, and he attended this Islamic center. But his ex-wife said he was short-tempered and abusive.
He was mentally unstable and mentally ill. That's the only explanation that I could give.
For much of the day, friends and family searched hospitals for people who were in the club. But many now know their loved ones did not survive.
Candlelight vigils are planned for the next several evenings. In Orlando, Florida, Craig Boswell, CBS News. Now back to you.
General David Petraeus is on Capitol Hill to testify about the terrorist attack on a U.S. compound in Benghazi, Libya, that killed 4 Americans, including Ambassador Chris Stevens.
You just have to get all these different perspectives and thoughts and look at it and try to get the truth out of it, or what you can best determine to be the truth.
Petraeus is the 65th person interviewed by the committee, including an 11-hour hearing with former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. This is the 8th congressional investigation into the attack, which has taken up to a year and a half and spent more than $5.5 million.
So far, we have not heard anything that contradicts what we already know.
But Chairman Trey Gowdy says the committee has broken new ground.
You just said that you can categorically say that you have learned new information.
You don't have to take my word for it. Did any other committee access Ambassador Stevens' emails? Did any other committee, for that matter, access Secretary Clinton's emails?
But while the committee labors through more interviews, the story of the attack hits the big screen this month.
If you do not get here soon, we are all gonna die.
Producer Michael Bay is coming out with a movie called 13 Hours, a Hollywood blockbuster version of the story.
What the people will perceive as being the truth may be dictated by, what a movie says or what a book says.
The committee hopes to begin writing its final report in a few months. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Capitol Hill.